loudest pizza. Continuing the trend, after the beginning of a fantastic day, I kept it going by getting a athletic massage this morning. My left knee still giving me a bit of problems. So the lady at the massage clinic puts an absolute pummeling into the muscles surrounding it to try and alleviate some of that, so that when I go run the marathon and continue to train for it, that I don't collapse from knee pain. I still haven't let it get too bad yet. I'm keeping myself from running through the pain. I'm keeping myself from doing anything stupid. I'm just purely trying to prevent injury. That's kind of a smart way of doing it. Funny story about my first massage experience. When I went in for the first time ever, the girl who was going to be massaging me did not tell me that I needed to go like under the sheets on the massage table. And she said, okay, strip down to wherever you're comfortable and get on the table. And then she left the room and I stripped down and sat on the table on top of the sheets and thought to myself, this is the most awkward and weird experience that I've ever gone through. How is it that there are this many people in the world who are comfortable with doing this? Because this is so weird. Needless to say, when she walked into the room, she was pretty surprised to see me there, relatively naked, sitting on top of the table, upright, looking at her very weird, like, I wish that I didn't have to do this. That's when I learned you're supposed to go under the sheets. Anyway, I continue to go to her because we already have that ice broken. She already knows that I'm weird, so it works out well. So I'm in the car again. Something came up. I have to go to Moncton for the night, and yeah. Considerably more snow here than there is in Halifax. So today my day is relatively booked. I'm not going to be able to shoot a whole lot in the way of content. But first I did want to show you and tell you a story about that bike. Also, how sweet is this home gym that my parents have now that me and my brother don't live here anymore? And +1 for it actually getting used very regularly. Even though there are clothes hanging from the Bowflex right now, and it looks like the treadmill doesn't get used very much, I can assure you that it does. The bike gets used more than the treadmill does. I promise. Either way, I'll be taking full advantage of this space tomorrow morning. Now, do you remember the video that I made called Big Tires? The story about how my dad was considering getting into road riding, and he had this idea that he wanted a road bike with like bigger tires because he felt that it would be significantly more comfortable than something like this. And I went very much out of my way to convince him that that wasn't the way things were done, and that's not how you ride a road bike. You're supposed to ride super, super small tires that like the highest pressure ever, and road riding isn't supposed to be fun, it's supposed to hurt. And the way that that story ended was that I came back and showed my dad the Apollo that I had built with 38C tires on them, and basically regurgitated all the things that he said would be cool about riding a big tire bike back to him, all while he was riding a bike with smaller tires at really high pressure when he had told me that that was what he wanted to originally do, and I talked him out of it. Yeah, that video. So this bike, oddly enough, is actually the opposite story of that. My dad was considering getting into like doing some triathlon racing, and he originally had this Kona Jake the Snake cyclocross bike that he kind of had it in his mind that it wasn't going to be good enough or fast enough for a triathlon setting. He ended up asking me about it, and he was like, well, what should I do? And I'm like, well, the thing that kind of makes sense if you're really serious about getting into any sort of like triathlon racing is that you don't go out and buy a triathlon bike. What you do is you go out and buy like an aero road bike and then buy some clip-on bars for it to get into that very, very aerodynamic triathlon time trial position. You know, the ones that just clip on right here. You see a lot of people doing that when they don't want to spend the money on a tri-bike that they're only going to ride in a triathlon setting. You know, having something like this, an Aero road bike, is going to be a little more robust. You can do more with it. You can go road ride with your friends. It doesn't always need to be an individual time trial scenario. The problem is, he likes to ride with the bars up pretty high and the saddle a little bit low. Just a little bit low. That's where he feels comfortable. Me taking that in mind, I was like, I don't know if an aero bike is really the way to go because you're going to be sitting in a pretty upright position anyway. I think you'd be better off going with an endurance bike. But I'm kind of thinking what really did him in was how fast and how expensive an aero bike looks. And I can get that. A really good looking bike does make you want to go ride a little bit more. I talk about that a lot. And ultimately, I think that was probably the leading cause for him to go buy this bike. And over the years, he hasn't registered for a triathlon or even tried putting clip-on bars onto his Aero road bike. Hilariously enough, when I was home over Christmas, I had heard him utter, maybe I should have gotten a bike with a bit more comfortable of a riding position and that could allow for a slightly bigger road tire. And then he pretty much almost never rides it outside and far prefers beyond this. To which I, of course, replied, like what, an endurance bike like I told you to get? There's no wonder in this family where I get my stubbornness from. Spent the last little bit finishing up the denim jean video. It's uploaded, hoping it does well. But being here alone, my parents not here, didn't bring Norton, and Angela not being here, sort of driving myself somewhat stir crazy. So I'm actually just gonna go head over to my brother's place and hang out with him and his dog. Don't chew on it. Okay, stay there and yell. High five. Thank you. That's my old all-mountain bike. Andrew owns it now. Sort of. He hasn't paid me for it yet, but I'm not taking it back. And that's why I didn't make it to the 7 bikes for 2017 video. Because it's here, in Moncton. It's not mine anymore.